Welcome to the Daily Technology Pulse podcast by Daily Computers, your expert technology partners for public and private sector organizations throughout Maryland and Virginia. This episode is brought to you by RICOH, creating a more efficient workplace to bring your organization into the digital future. And now, here's your host, Rick from Daily.
Joining us today on the Technology Pulse podcast, we have Scott Francis. Scott is the technology evangelist for RICOH document scanners. Scott, thanks so much for joining us.
Rick, thanks for having me on the show.
So, Scott, let's have you introduce yourself. Tell us about your background, how long you've been with RICOH, and give us that insight into who our guest is today.
Well, I've been in the quote-unquote industry for about 35 years now. I joined Fujitsu in 1999, and I've been with the company for about 25 years. The last 2 of those years are with RICOH, as we've joined RICOH Group. So I've spent my entire professional career in the electronic document management, also known as document imaging, or enterprise content management, or now we just say digital transformation. So my career has spanned several buzzwords for the technology that Rick can simply digitize paper and extract that information so we can actually use it.
I'm really excited to talk to you during this episode because we are finding ourselves in an age where we are constantly having to bridge the gap in what I like to call the digital document divide. And it's one of those challenges that I think, some organizations have handled pretty well and others have not handled as well. So really hoping to give some insight to the folks out there in the SLED space, in the public sector, even in the commercial sector, because, back in the day, everything was paper. Everything was paper-based. You had your Post-it notes. You had Post-it notes stuck all over the place. When you were going to the same office every single day, that really was something that, was acceptable. But now in the hybrid world and, in the virtual world, you really do need something that goes away from that paper. I'm really glad that you mentioned Fujitsu, because I was going to say, we know that the scanners used to be under the Fujitsu brand, right? So now that's all changed to RICOH because of you joining the RICOH Group.
Yeah, we're really excited to be part of RICOH Group. But to quickly explain it, Fujitsu has over 200 companies. And one of those companies has been making document scanners since 1990. And I spent the 1990s working for a distributor, Law Cypress, selling those Fujitsu scanners. And I liked them so much, I joined the company in 1999. Well, over the years, that one Fujitsu company that's made scanners eventually was acquired by RICOH. So RICOH now owns 80% of our specific company. It's PFU Limited. And with that 80% acquisition, we've now moved over to RICOH Group. So the entire company, Rick, from our engineers to our factories to our support and sales staff here in the U.S. and around the world, we've all moved over to RICOH Group. And it's a great home for us to be. RICOH makes a lot of great office productivity products. Some of your listeners may know them for their multifunction peripherals. They're one of the leading MFP manufacturers. So with that acquisition, our brand has changed from Fujitsu to RICOH, but our products haven't changed at all, except for the fact that we're always innovating new technology. And we'll talk about our Chrome OS support and innovation on today's podcast. But in short, Fujitsu scanners are now under the RICOH brand, and we're happy to be in our new home.
And we're really happy to have you as strategic partners at Daily, because I have to say, the fact that you had said that you're constantly looking to push that envelope when it comes to technology innovation. We really do try to work with the best innovators out there in, particularly for the SLED space for Maryland and Virginia, but we're always looking for partners who are going to continue to bring that innovative mindset. Because when you face it, when you're talking about state and local governments, and you're talking about education, K-12, and even higher ed, you tend to get organizations that get, I'm trying to say it in a really nice way, stuck in that same rut. They always have the mindset, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. It really is one of those things where we're constantly trying to remind people that there is a way to do things better, faster, more efficiently, more effectively, more cost effectively. And it all comes down to innovation, which is, again, one of the reasons why we're really thankful to have RICOH as one of our strategic partners. We really do enjoy working with you. And especially for the topic that we're talking about today, because, again, it's about bridging that digital document divide. So it's one of those things where, and I'm sure you see it a lot. There are a lot of use cases why documents should be digital rather than printed paper.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at business, right? So we have customers across government and education and healthcare users as part of the base of customers that use our products. The best solutions are a combination of paper and digital. Rick, we're almost at the 50-year anniversary of the first time the term the paperless office was used. I think it was Newsweek. It was one of the news publications did an article on the future of the paperless office almost 50 years ago. Well, 50 years have gone by, and there's still a lot of paper out there. And reflecting on my career here at Fujitsu, now RICOH, I can say that paper isn't the problem, but the management and the storage of paper is a fundamental problem that we solve. So, to your question, information needs to be digital. And it can certainly be paper based at the beginning, but it's got to be digitized. Let's look at the new way that we're all working with the hybrid office. You made a point earlier that it might be okay if everyone's in the same office, but we're no longer working in the same office. We are hybrid workers, we are remote workers, and we need to access information wherever we are. And that's where digitization is so important, because once that information's digitized, we can access it wherever we are, whenever we need it. And more importantly, when we're storing paper, we are burning money. It is very expensive to store paper, whether it's in the office, taking up valuable office space, or even using offsite storage. And when information's on paper and we're not scanning it, we're not gaining any of the insights and information on that paper. And when we try to find that paper, it takes a long time. I've seen several studies that suggest still in today's age, over 50% of processes are still paper-based. So there's paper out there, and if it's not being scanned, it's creating a huge problem.
And particularly when it comes to the education space. I look at it from my own little micro universe dealing with my kids. They're constantly doing things in school that are paper-based. And if they don't remember to put it in their folder and put it in their backpack and bring it home, it's something I never see. And there are just so many instances where that has happened, whether it's an assignment that the teacher wanted to make us aware of, or it's an exam because, again, they're having students do a lot of stuff on paper because they don't want students trying to take advantage of ChatGPT and AI and have computers do the answering for them. So they're trying to make sure that they're writing things down. Those are things that just completely get lost from my purview as a parent, because if my children don't remember to bring it home, and trust me, they don't, it's something that I end up never seeing. And so I have to think that particularly in the education space, there are just so many opportunities for digitizing these documents that will help make people, help make parents more aware, help make students more productive, help make the educational environment for the teachers and the administration just that much better, right?
Completely agree. We can deliver a higher degree of more quality in the way that we educate our kids with this technology. Now, first, we don't want our kids lugging around a 30-pound backpack because we've saddled them down with books and documents. So, your point is well taken that in order for parents to be involved, they have to be able to see what's happening in the classroom. They have to see those assignments. And the ability for teachers to digitize assignments or to capture completed assignments allows that information to be shared. And when we think about the amount of time that school districts, the front office, is spending just managing student records, we can actually allow those schools to be a lot more productive with requests for records, for instance. And that makes the schools more productive. It makes teachers more productive. I've got kids in school as well. And how much time is lost? When I talk to teachers, how much time is lost every week just working with students who said, I turned in the assignment, but I don't have it. If teachers can digitize the assignments when they're turned in, now we can erase that back and forth that they're spending with their students, just simply trying to find a homework assignment. And when teachers don't have to deal with those issues, they're more productive. They can give a better quality of education to their students. There's so many benefits out there.
And we certainly want to help them realize those benefits. Now, and that's where, again, a quality partner like RICOH comes in, because we have a lot of school systems that we work with, and not just school systems, but government organizations, healthcare, just like you said, a lot of them tend to work off of Chromebook. And so I understand that you've just gotten some big news that one of your models has been certified as a works with Chromebook scanning device, right?
Yeah, we're excited. Our FI 8170 scanner, and this is our flagship device, by the way. It's also the top selling scanner in the industry. Has now just been certified as a works with Chromebooks device. And we just didn't go down the normal integration path. We've actually added some unique technology to make sure that Chromebook users can really benefit from all that our scanning devices offer.
Why is it that you chose to support Chrome OS? Is it really, is it just based on the number of Chromebook users these days, or was there something a little more behind it?
Well, it's a number of factors. It certainly is the number of users. Chromebook OS is the fastest growing OS, but it's also about the future. We want to make sure our customers can use our products on their platform of choice. And I think we all agree that applications are moving to the cloud. We're using cloud applications more and more. Chrome OS is the best operating systems that are primarily using browser-based applications. And it's got some great benefits. When we look at Chrome OS, I think part of the reason it's the fastest growing OS is that it's highly secure. There have been no ransomware attacks on Chrome OS to date. It's very easy to use. It's very easy for IT to support it as well. And it's also green with its low power consumption. So these are all great benefits for Chrome OS. And when you consider those points and combine it with the lower acquisition price of Chromebooks and the ability to use Chrome OS Flex to extend the life of older PCs, it really makes Chrome OS more cost effective than other operating systems. So, Rick, we're looking at the opportunity today, but in the future. But ultimately, it's about giving our customers the choice and flexibility to use our products on all of the platforms that can make a difference.
Now, I'm going to acknowledge that I just heard in my mind's ear, tens of thousands, if not more, Chrome OS users who were knocking on wood, as you said, there were no, security incidents. We're going to hope that that continues, but that really is true. I mean, the security of the Chrome OS devices, that's why the organizations that use them really do utilize them, along with the other points that you mentioned. But it really is about security. Now, I know Chrome OS has supported scanners before through a certain type of driver, right? So how exactly is it different for the FI 8170 to be a certified works with Chromebook scanning device? How is your integration different than utilizing the driver that was available before?
Yeah, great question. So Chrome OS has had scanning support before, and it's through the public Sane driver. So the Sane driver, it's a very straightforward scanning support, but it simply isn't that feature rich. It simply supports scanning. It doesn't have image processing features. It doesn't have image enhancement. It can simply pull an image from a scanner. And when we looked at the opportunity to have a Works with Chromebooks device, we simply wanted to do more. We wanted to give our users the major features that they've come to expect on other platforms. So when they choose to use Chrome OS, they're not going to have to settle for less. So what we did is we worked to create a supercharged, if you will, that's not an official term, that really includes some of our great features. So for instance, our 8170 can do automatic document size detection. So if you're scanning different size documents, you don't have to deal with a lot of excess space. You don't have to change view settings. The documents come up in a way that you can see all of the document content. We've got our dynamic thresholding capabilities that will actually look at every page and apply the right brightness and contrast settings to bring out all the fine details of the document. We're trying to recreate the true document fidelity, so there's no deficiency with that scanned image versus the paper original. So those are just some of the features we've added, but it's been embedded in a way that it's seamless to the user. They don't have to be highly technical. The integration's great. You can simply plug the 8170 into your Chromebook. It will automatically detect it, and it will install the driver in just over a minute. So in terms of functionality, both the installation and the use is really easy.
And I could really see that being so important, particularly again, we're going to keep picking on education. That is really one of the areas. I mean, particularly like you said, where you've got the automatic, document size detection, because I could see that, because in the classroom you're going to have a number of different things. Whether you're scanning in, again, if you're scanning in a printed document that's 8.5 by 11, but what if, and again, we're going to go back to the old days where we used to pass notes around the classroom, and students still do that. They don't just sit there and text each other, because a lot of times they don't have their phones. So, they're still passing notes around the classroom. If the teacher got hold of one of those and needed to document it, it's one of those things where, even though it's a torn up little chunk of paper, they could still just stick it in the scanner and run it straight through, right?
They can. And we also have auto orientation. So if the page is fed upside down versus right side up, we will correct that as well.
Oh, well, and see, that's what I need for me, because we really do need to take the ID10T errors, as we like to call them, because I do that all the time. There have been so many times where I scan something and then I'm like, I either have to go into Adobe and start, flipping things around. And I know a lot of people that have just the worst issues with that. So it's one of those things where, we're certainly thankful that you're looking ahead for that. Now, along with the FI 8170, I understand that you also have, some really dedicated, like, Chromebook editions of your scanners, correct?
We do, right? So within education, for instance, there are different use cases. The scanner in the classroom is going to be different than the scanner in the front office. So we also have our ScanSnap iX 1600 Chromebook edition, and this is a great fit for teachers in the classroom. It's small, it's feature rich, it's wireless, and there's not a lot of space in the classroom, right? So it's about the size of a shoebox, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. The wireless connectivity makes it easier to connect back to that Chromebook. It's great for all those student assignments, any type of reimbursement or regulatory forms. It's great to digitize past curriculums. A teacher may teach a different grade from one year to the next, but they still have all of those assignments for the grade that they just taught, and they're going to want to keep those so they can scan all of that so they don't have to store paper in the classroom. So the iX 1600 is perfect for those applications, and it fits right in. And you talked about ease of use. This is a PDF making appliance. So ScanSnap, you put a piece of paper in, you press a button, and you get a great PDF file. So ScanSnap is really scanning in a snap. That's what the name's all about. And it's another solution we offer for Chrome OS.
Yeah, and that's really great that, you offer it for those different types of positions within an organization, because particularly, just like you said, when you're talking about state and local government, you have those who are in accounting, those who are in legal, those who are doing a bunch of things where, again, it used to be nothing but paper, 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 and giving them the chance to also have that same, I want to say flexibility, but I really want to say freedom, free themselves from those reams of paper that they used to have to keep on hand. And then you just sit there and they just pile up in drawers until suddenly one day you can't fit any more paper in your drawer, and it's all right, off to the shredder we go. And you also have to think about that. We went from people who are in the office 5 days a week to people who are in the office 2, 3 days a week, or maybe not in an office at all. You've got those boxes of files. I mean, how great is it to have the ability to be able to use your Chrome OS device and take all of those paper files that you thought were just going to sit in that drawer until the day that you finally shredded them. You'll be able to shred them early because you'll be able to get them digitized, get them into a digital environment, and then you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. And as we look to the new applications, Rick, so using large language model databases and generative AI to literally comb through tens of thousands of paper records that have been digitized, and to be able to deliver real-time intelligence to employees. In the old days, you'd have to go to the file cabinet, find your documents, and then you'd have to review them and then form and summarize the information that you were looking for. Well, we're in the age now to where generative AI could actually go into those large language models and find that information and interpret it as a person would, and summarize and deliver answers to questions in real time. So when paper is in a drawer, it's in a file cabinet, it's not doing anyone any good. In fact, it's posing a huge business risk. If there's PII, sensitive information, and it's in a drawer, someone gets a hold of it, you might have an information breach at your company. When you scan your documents, they can be secured. And now we can leverage all of this next generation technology to actually benefit from the information that's on the paper. And this is a huge opportunity, whether you're a business, whether you're an organization, to make your company, your organization better, to save money, to allow your employees simply to do work that matters because they're not stuck spending all their time just looking for information.
So the security aspect is something that, a lot of people don't think of. Again, you've got those paper files, you've got those paper documents, they're sitting around. You can't secure them other than to lock your door. And, sometimes it just doesn't work that way. You've got to get up and move out from your desk and suddenly, things are just out in the open exposed. But then I also have to think that this is going to be very helpful in finding things because, again, when it comes to a paper file system, nobody has it. Nobody has it situated exactly the way that they need it. You're going to end up sorting and sifting and flipping and paper cutting yourself all over the place. I have to think that scanning these documents and putting them into that digital format is going to make it a lot easier to find things. Is going to make it more searchable, and you're going to be able to get your hands on things a lot quicker.
It certainly is. And if you're that person at corporate by the file cabinet, you are constantly being bombarded with requests for those paper files. And every time those requests come in, now you're wasting your time helping out one of your remote employees who simply needs the information. When you digitize everything and make it searchable, everyone can access those documents in a secure fashion. Only the people that should have access to those documents are going to be able to retrieve those images. So it's a huge benefit. Separately, I just read a study by Bark, and they went to companies and said, are your managers making decisions based on actual data, or are they making decisions on the cuff? Are they based on a gut feel? And the survey was pretty amazing. 58% of companies, if I remember correctly, were making decisions on the cuff or based on a gut feeling. And although experience and intuition are good, data-based decisions are still the best ones. The study also showed that the majority of companies in the survey that are doing well were all data-based decision companies, if you will. And conversely, the companies that weren't making data-based decisions were not doing so well. So being able to access information quickly, it allows employees to actually use information to make decisions. When we think about the cost savings, Rick, it's not just about saving space, increasing productivity, but you're saving money by making better decisions, and you're increasing customer service by using this technology, and all that translates into better performance.
No, and that's definitely the case. And it really is all about efficiency and effectiveness. We're trying to make things better. I always like to use the old idiom, work smarter, not harder. And I always like to say we really do at Daily try to make it so that our customers are making smarter decisions, are bringing in smarter processes. The technology is making the workplace smarter because it's making it more efficient and making it more effective. And this is really one of those solutions, where we're talking about the scanning of documents that, as we said, so many different benefits that organizations, whether it's the state and local government side, the K through 12 side, or even the higher education side, so many ways that they can benefit from this. And again, kudos to RICOH for taking the leap into the Chrome OS so that these Chromebooks are, like you said, it's not just scanning. It's making it better. It's doing more things so that you're really able to put a lot of intuition into this and make it so much less effort going forward.
Thank you. We're all about making our products easy to use and making the technology effective so it actually works. And we want to make sure that the solutions we provide can save companies and organizations money. So we are excited to have our 8170 and our iX 1600 available for Chrome OS. We're excited to work with Google. And we're excited for the opportunity that Google and others are providing through generative AI and large language models and agentic AI that's simply going to make us better, not only as organizations, but for society overall. And so I'm excited about the future and really proud to be leading part of a company that's leading the charge to digitize paper. And we love working with Daily as you can make these solutions happen for companies and organizations out there. We very much appreciate the partnership and look forward to more success in the future.
So, Scott, as we're getting ready to wrap things up, any final thoughts on anything we've talked about today?
Well, Rick, I think it's been a great discussion, and I would love to come back and do a deeper dive on generative AI technology and how it's helping everyday people like us. I think that would be a great topic. But again, I really appreciate having us on the show and being able to talk about our solutions.
Well, I will tell you now, I never turn down an opportunity to have a repeat guest. And you're hitting on several things here. You're offering me another episode, which I will definitely take you up on. And you're offering to talk about AI, which is a topic that is huge throughout the SLED space and public sector. So we are going to take you up on that. We will talk to you again in 2025. I guarantee that. Scott, thanks so much. It was great having you on the Technology Pulse. And we appreciate all the information you shared with us today.
Thank you very much.
And that wraps up another insightful episode of the Daily Technology Pulse podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Before we sign off, we want to take a moment to remind you of some important legal considerations. The views and opinions expressed by guests on the Daily Technology Pulse podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Daily Computers or its partners. The content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of Daily Computers Inc. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can find us at www.daly.com. The Daily Technology Pulse podcast will be back with more exciting discussions on the latest in technology. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected.